His game north last year, and his game is definitely going north quality-wise, Ray Morrison, when it comes to another playoff run, coming off a fantastic performance versus the Regina Rams.
Well, what's interesting about today's game is UBC's last 4 Hardy Cup wins have all come over Calgary, dating back to 1986. Both of these teams have 15 Hardy Cup titles, so this is the tiebreaker in many respects. The Saskatchewan Huskies lead Canada West history with 18 conference titles. The Dinos and T-Birds with 15 each as we get set to tee this one up today.
And in terms of Hardy Cups, they are tied at 5 apiece, so this will serve as the rubber match as DeFonte puts a boot to it, and we got game and we're underway. Will Maxwell, the former Calgary Dino, brings it across the 20 up to the 23-yard line, and that's where the blue and gold will start their first series.
UBC had 576 total yards in offense in that 40-34 win over the Regina Rams. They jumped out and had command of that game, but let's look at the tail of the tape here for this offensive unit for the T-Birds, which will be led by Michael O'Connor. And those numbers kind of show you why they only won 3 games this year, but as you say, Jim, this team has come on at the right time.
Cook and Watson, the inside receivers to the right side, along with Pinto on this first down. As it's pass complete to Cook, and he coughs up the football. We've got an early turnover as Hunter Turnbull scoops up the spoils. A poor start for the UBC Thunderbirds, and immediately the Calgary Dinos are in the red zone.
That is a tough break for Marshall Cook. He had a 15-yard TD last week against the Regina Rams, but what a great play here by Hunter Turnbull as O'Connor drops back lots of time. Looks like more or less a routine play. 8-10-yard throw out to the flat, but a good punch out there by Nick Statz, and there's the recovery from Turnbull.
Hunter Carl comes out wide to the right side. Austin Hartley not in the lineup today. The number 1 receiver as they stick it on the ground with Jeshwan Antwi, and he gets 3 on the left side. The Calgary Dinos in the red zone, 57% touchdown-wise, 21 of 37.
And there's a look at the Calgary numbers this year. Very impressive when it comes to scoring and yards, but as you mentioned, no Austin Hartley, no Bryce Harper in the backfield. So this week, their starting lineup looks different than it did a week ago against the Huskies.
Antwi, the tailback, Anderson, the inside receiver. As the handoff goes to Klukas on the end around, and he's got a lane across the 15. Breaks a tackle, cross the 10, down to the 8-yard line. That will be good for a first down.
What a tremendous play call in the red zone. And you know why? Because it's a low-risk play. You're keeping the ball on the ground, but the sweep gets the UBC defense moving to the right of your screen, and then Calgary's able to capitalize for a first down inside the 10-yard line of the T-Birds early in this football game.
Adam Sinagra can use his legs here. He's carried the ball 9 times for 86 yards. And a touchdown when in the red zone. Let's see if he goes to the air here. No, he will hand off to Antwi, who gets a gap inside and bursts into the end zone for the opening major score of the afternoon. Jeshwan Antwi with 6.
Well, Blake Nill's team on its heels a little bit. Offense had the ball stripped away deep in their own territory, and the University of Calgary, they're a little bit battle-tested this year, Jim, as compared to last year when they ran the table in the regular season. They've had to work for everything they've had, and in this case, you see the hard work of the running back to get into the end zone for the touchdown.
Well, when you're 8 yards out from the goal line, why not hand it to the guy that averages 7.5 yards a carry? And Jeshwan Antwi, the graduate out of Father Lacobe, who said in the pregame conference he wanted to get a shout out from the Shaw broadcast crew. Well, you just did all the work. You made it easy for us.
Consider this your shout out right here. Look at the work of the offensive line as they do a great job in sealing off the UBC defense from getting to the left side. And then it's just one more burst here from Antwi as he's got to push his way in, and he does a good job at staying on his feet to cross the plane and get in for the touchdown.
Not a surprise that they would go to Jordan Filippelli's side, the left tackle, the only offensive lineman who has started in his spot for all 8 games and the playoffs.
It's been an amazing job by Wayne Harris to get that group looking so good.
Let's go downstairs to Andy Neal.
All right, thanks very much, guys. With Jeshua and Antwi on the touchdown and early strike. How big is that in this big game?
Very big, you know. This is a game of momentum, you know. We have an early lead now. We just keep going. Credit to my O-line, Michael Klukas, you know, great fake, great way to run the ball, you know. This is a great feeling to be out here right now.
Bryce Harper out. How big is the role for you going to be today, and how important is it for you?
Well, you know, I've been waiting for this, since I've been here. This is an exciting opportunity for me to show what I can do, and I'm just ready to ball out.
Well, congrats on the touchdown. All the best.
Thank you.
All right, back upstairs.
Might want to suggest to Andy Neal that he packs a little oxygen tank with him when he talks to a running back who just burst into the end zone.
We may want to wait till after the kickoff before we do those interviews, but what a great job. And we've talked about Calgary's three-headed monster, how they started the season. And, you know, now that Harper's gone, that depth from this Calgary offense is starting to show.
So Travell Pinto gave up a single off the kickoff. It's 8-0 on the second drive of the afternoon for the Thunderbirds as they go straight up the gut with Ben Cummings, the Canada West All-Star, and he will eke out 5 yards. You know, one of the reasons the Calgary Dinos are the best team left standing, they're a +10 on giveaway takeaway. UBC a +4. Usually you can translate those numbers right across the board and figure out who the leaders are stats-wise.
Well, look at how stingy that defense is, averaging just over 20 yards allowed per game. They've done a terrific job here.
Mann and Watson in motion to the right side on 2nd and 5. Pass complete to Ben Cummings. He will have the first down after a gain of 6 as Micah Tights makes the stop for the Dinos.
Well, that's the thing for UBC. You know, the first 3 minutes of this game haven't gone your way, but stick with the play calling and stick with the short game, stick with the ground game, and lots of time left. This offense just has to kind of settle down and move methodically like they've been able to do in the last half of this regular season.
4 receivers right side. Now Watson in motion to the short side, then doubles back in protection on the first down play as Cummings will get maybe a gain of 2. The door was closed, not much available there.
No, you see that interior for the University of Calgary. You're going to have to be very creative if you're UBC's offense because, as we've talked about, it's a defense that's so talented in the linebacking core and in the secondary that interior, the front 3, sometimes 4 that they show, they can afford to be aggressive and make plays like that.
Blake Pickard starting at center for UBC. The Canada West All-Star Levi Hua is out of the lineup at that position. 2nd down and 8. O'Connor tries to find Cummins. It was a bit of a hospital ball, and Tights took advantage of that, stapled the Thunderbird to the turf.
Yeah, Mika Tights with a great play right there. That was a dangerous pass as the receiver had to expose himself and put up the ribs, put up the hands, and that high toss allowed the defender to get over there and just make that play. One more look at it here. There's the throw, and the receiver had to go high up for it and pays the price.
The officials whistle things down. As Calgary had a personnel problem and they have to spend a timeout early in this first quarter with 11:05 remaining.
So look at Blake Nill, who did such a great job with this Calgary football team, getting them to Hardy Cup after Hardy Cup after Hardy Cup before leaving for the University of BC last year. And his success followed him to the West Coast as he took this T-Birds team to a Vanier Cup championship last season.
Well, Blake Nill, talking yesterday after the walkthrough, said to me, the one thing about the overtime game, even though they lost it in the final game of the year versus Calgary, was they knew that they could find a way into the playoffs, and these games didn't kill them. So that they had second life here in the playoffs, and they knew that they were capable of trading blow for blow with the Calgary Dinos, taking them into that extra frame.
41-35, the Dinos beat the T-Birds a couple of weeks ago.
Hutchins, nice hang time on that one, and it's fielded by Adam Lorentz. Flags are down at the 28. It might be no yards. Let's go and see what Andy Neal's up to.
Well, guys, Wayne Harris Jr. telling me before the game, the head coach of the Dinos, that he hasn't had the same lineup in any game this year, and today's no exception, and some big losses coming out of the semifinal win over Saskatchewan. Austin Hartley, Bryce Harper. Hartley, the wide receiver, in a walking boot today and in street clothes. He's not in, but Harris did say if Calgary does get through today, he should be able to dress next week. As for Harper, he was in crutches, and he was also in the team's uniform today. He is dressed, but in crutches. Is not able to go. Questionable whether or not he'd be able to play next week should Calgary win. As for Jimmy Underdahl, there was some talk that he might be dressed in today's game, but given the game changes that Calgary had to make because of the Hartley and Harper injuries, it just didn't make sense for Harris to put him into the lineup today, but he does expect him to dress next week. Again, that's if the Dinos get a victory here, but they all had different forms on their legs for the lower body injuries. The walking boot for Hartley, the crutches for Harper, and a knee brace for quarterback Jimmy Underdahl. Guys.
Thanks very much, Andy. The penalty was against Calgary. Marches the ball back to the 15. So Niagara goes to the air on first down and throws complete for Brendan Thera-Plamondon. We'll get a gain of close to a dozen and a first down for the Dinos.
Thera-Plamondon does a good job of just sitting down and taking what this defense gives them. A little bit soft here from UBC with regards to their coverage, and Thera-Plamondon can be one of the unsung heroes of this Calgary receiving corps, especially when you consider some of the weapons that they have out right now due to injury.
Carl comes out wide to the left side. McDonald wide to the right on this first down play from the 29. There goes Antwi. He hurdles a player and lurches across the 39. That'll be good for a gain of 11 and another first down for the red and gold.
Just take a look at the right-hand surge of the blocking team of the Calgary Dinos. Look at them all out there. That sea of red gives the running back all sorts of room to pick up a first down here. And good methodical thinking here from the play calling from the Calgary coaches, and nice execution from this offense.
Even early on, Calgary are physically asserting themselves at the line of scrimmage. Marching out from their own 15, fourth play of the drive. There goes Antwi, left side. Katsatonis meets him as he crosses the 45. It'll be a gain of 6 on first down.
We talked about UBC playing the pass a little more, so Calgary's going to dominate with the run if they can. And that offensive line, as you pointed out, Jim, did a terrific job against this Thunderbirds defense there and picking up a sizable gain, almost 6 yards on that ground play.
22 yards on the ground so far for Antwi on 3 carries. Let's see if the Dinos elect to go to him on 2nd and 4. And he will get the rock, and he will get the first down, and he'll get a couple more, getting the ball into UBC territory as the Calgary Dinos, for most of this first quarter, really feel like they're running downhill.
Absolutely, and what a way to start this football game for Calgary. The opportunistic turnover in the first drive and a short touchdown, a red zone touchdown, and now they're just absolutely imposing their will on this UBC defensive unit here as the ground game's going to work, and they'll probably stick with it until UBC proves that they can stop it, or the Calgary coaching staff sees a weakness in that UBC territory defensive secondary that they might be able to exploit later.
Difficult to pick up the number on the injured UBC player. Finally, we do. It's former BCFC Player of the Year, Dylan Chapdelaine. Let's take a look at just what happened last week, Ray.
Well, it was the Dinos over the Huskies by a count of 47-17. There's a Tyler Chow run. The Huskies were up 8-0, but we talked about it off the top. A 9-minute span where that 8-0 deficit turned into a 23-8 lead in this one. And wow, what a play here all over Denzel Radford with that 94-yard kickoff return. That made it 32-8. Robert Stewart with a 3-yard run. That made it 40-8. And Calgary just dominated the Huskies in that 47-17 win.
Right now, the Dinos dominating as Whitman Tamuziak reels it in at the 50 after a gain of 4.5. That'll bring up 2nd down and a long 5 facing the Dinos. Mount Allison trailing SFX 20-3 in that game. The Mounties have lost their first-string quarterback and their second-string quarterback.
Oh.
And this just in, they don't have a third-string quarterback.
Wow.
So they are in deep.
Wildcat.
Here is the pass over the middle, and it's complete to Tyler Ledwas down at the 38. That is a gain of 12, and that'll move the sticks again. The UBC defense providing little resistance so far.
Yeah, the coverage has been a little bit soft here, and one of the things that, a guy like Austin Hartley does it in the regular season when he's in the lineup, and now we're seeing Tyler Ledwas. He just sits down in the open area, and a good job by Sinagra to get him that ball, just to locate where he is, and they'll take that all day if the T-Birds are going to continue to give it to him.
First down for the Prehistorics at the UBC 37. 3 receivers left side. Sinagra scans, throws right. He's got a man. It's Dallas both inside the 10. Fumbles the football, and the UBC Thunderbirds have recovered inside the 5. That is a turn of luck for the UBC Thunderbirds, as it looks like both was trying to extend for the end zone, lost the handle on the football, and this might be the play that shifts momentum back in favor of the blue and gold.
Look at the time that the quarterback, Sinagra, has right here. Good toss, and then you have to concentrate. You've got to buckle it away, and generally when you carry the football, you want it, when you're that close to the sideline, to have it facing the sideline. He's got it inside towards the field. There's the play, and Katsantonis quickly scoops that up.
That is the 4th forced fumble of the year by A.J. Blackwell.
Incredible.
Ball marked at the 5-yard line. First down, UBC. On play action, O'Connor buys time, throws into double coverage, and it is complete to David Mann at the 20-yard line for a gain of 15.
Warren Reese, number 28, was on the coverage on this play. I have no idea how this ball from O'Connor got through as O'Connor rolls to the right. Now watch him run and move. That's what you want with a quarterback in the Canadian game. If you can run and see the field at the same time, you're going to have success because the whole game slows down, and that's what O'Connor was able to do there.
Ball just outside the 20. First down for the Thunderbirds, as they will put it on the ground and not get much, as Jacob Jakubek made first contact on Ben Cummings.
If UBC is going to have success today, Jim, their offensive line is going to have to be as dominant as Calgary's has been. They're really going to have to open up some holes and be really assertive here in this ballgame.
Kellogg wide to the left side, Pinto wide to the right on 2nd down and 9. Calgary brings 7. They get the ball away. Will Watson gets it and has his boots clipped by Nick Stats. And before Watson could get upfield, he's limited to a gain of 3, and it's another punting situation for the Thunderbirds, but they do get it clear of their own goalpost.
Well, they do. They dodge a bullet because chances are the way that offensive line is played on that pass that was fumbled, that probably would have went in the end zone from the 1 or 2 yard line. But let's take a little bit of a look here at where the pressure is coming from here as O'Connor drops back, looks to that side, and you can see that he was really under siege before making that throw. And what a great thing for Calgary to be able to put on pressure because your linebackers and your secondary members are just so athletic.
Corey Robinson almost came through unchecked. The punt by Hutchins has got good hang time. Lawrence takes it at the 50. Flags are down on no yards, as Lawrence makes 3 players miss before he gets it to the UBC 50.
Yeah, the no yards call coming, and we've always had an eye on players like Lawrence and Denzel Radford and how those returnees can really make a difference. As we take a look back at last year's Hardy Cup, a 34-26 win for UBC. There's Jimmy Underdahl in at quarterback. There's a 1-yard run. Early that made it 7-4 for Calgary. Michael O'Connor with a toss downfield. Marcus Davis was big in this football game for UBC. As you can see, a couple of touchdown catches. Mark Cerro caught a pass from Andrew Buckley in this one as well. That made it 25-17 at that point in time. But the final for UBC, 34-26 in the Hardy Cup last year.
And even though the Thunderbirds have Travell Pinto in the lineup on the return team, they would dearly love to have Marcus Davis in the lineup. He did make the trip with the Thunderbirds, but he is not close to returning. They may have a shot if they can somehow fashion a win here in this game to reactivate Davis, perhaps in a Vanier Cup.
Yeah, you really want to lean on the players with experience, and that goes for the Dinos and the Thunderbirds. When you think about all the players that played last year in such a big game, especially for UBC to come in and beat previously unbeaten Calgary to go on and win the Vanier Cup. Same thing for Calgary. When you can lean on that experience, I guess in many respects we shouldn't be surprised that these two teams are here, other than the fact, as we talked about off the top, that the Thunderbirds only won 3 regular season games. This is probably the best 3-5 regular season Canada West football team to ever take the field that's facing the Calgary Dinos today.
Let's take a look around the country. We mentioned that St. FX score 20-3 over Mount A. Also underway right now. Laurier 1 point behind the Western Mustangs, 20-19, and Laval has just taken a 7-6 lead on the Montreal Caravan at Sepsum Stadium on the north side of the hill in Montreal. Here it is 8-0 Calgary. Flags are down on this first down play. Antwi tracked down by Kevin Weens for a big loss of 6, but we'll have to investigate what the orange nylon is all about.
Good job by Kevin Weens. He had a sack last week in that 40-34 win over the Regina Rams, and he was the player that kind of made sure that the Calgary ball carrier went nowhere after that play to the right side of the field.
Kevin Weens, who is playing strong side linebacker. He's played corner. He's played halfback.
Yeah.
Offense, number 10. Penalties decline. Second down.
Kelly Edgeworth, our head referee this afternoon, with the call.
You know, it's such a treat to watch both of these teams when you take a look at how athletic they can be. They can shoot out, as you talked about, the outside linebackers to make secondary type plays, and some of the secondary players can come in and help out on the run. These defenses are just an absolute treat to watch.
Like Nils says, it's not about training positions, it's about training assignments. That's how he can move players around. Here's Sinagra on 2nd and 16. Finds Ledwas very close to the first down marker. Blackwell and Weens track him down at the 35. And with the placement of the ball, the Dinos should be about 1.5 to 2 feet short of the first down marker.
What a great job by Sinagra to hang in there. The pocket wasn't collapsing, but the heat was getting a little bit closer. And off the top, we talked about how Sinagra has proven he could run a Canada West offense since stepping in for Jimmy Underdahl, and that was great proof of it there. The command of the huddle, the poise when you're in the pocket, and Sinagra showed that on that play right there.
Calgary on 3rd down, 16 of 19, but they were 3 for 5 last week, and there's a bobble of the football, and the UBC Thunderbirds have forced a turnover on a 3rd and 1. We were just mentioning only 3 for 5 on 3rd down, and you have to wonder why their short yardage specialist, Josiah Joseph, was not in there taking snaps on 3rd and 1.
Well, hopefully we'll get another look at that. We were just talking about the game that Kevin Weens had last week, and what a good job. It was him that actually scooped that up, but that snap might have went off an ankle or a leg or something. It's tough to tell from there what exactly happened from center to quarterback, but UBC cashes in.
So another turnover for the Calgary Dinos in UBC territory. Thunderbirds looking to capitalize as Hunter Turnbull bumps with Trey Kellogg, and the ball falls incomplete.
Isn't it nice to see that contact without it being called, an interference call, without having an official run and wave his arms and wait for a review, perhaps? As we take a look at the turnovers in this game, the Dinos have coughed up the football twice here so far, and one thing you don't want to do is kind of let the Thunderbirds hang around.
4 receivers wide to the right side, 2 to the left on 2nd and 10 for Michael O'Connor and company. 3-man rush. O'Connor steps up, finds Cook at the 49. Late flag comes down, and it's probably going to be interference against the Calgary Dinos. If the play stands, it'll be a gain of 12.
Now we'll wait to see if that was an interference call or a hold here that we'll hear about from the officials here.
Pass interference. Calgary, number 77. The penalties decline. First down.
Kelly Edgeworth, our referee, as we take a look at this reception one more time. And this was a good job by the receiver to come back to the quarterback. O'Connor drops back, lots of time. The coverage a little bit tight, but look at the receiver kind of get his body in a position to make that catch and keep it away from the defender.
First down, UBC. Will Watson pulls it down out of the air. He's got real estate to work with. Across the 40, 35, 30, down to the 22-yard line.
What a fantastic play call from the UBC Thunderbirds. O'Connor dropped back and saw his receiver heading towards the left side of the field, and there wasn't a red jersey in sight on that side. We talked about how athletic Calgary can be, but look at the wide open spaces. There's only one red jersey in that picture, and he's covering the deep end. So great read by the UBC coaching staff for that play call, and a nice big gain for the T-Birds.
9 receptions for 116 last week against Regina for Will Watson. Cashes in big there. First down, UBC. They will keep it on the ground with Ben Cummings, and he will get 2, maybe 3 yards. I think the UBC Thunderbirds will remain committed to the running game. They ran the ball over 30 times versus the University of Regina. And Cummings had his first sub-100-yard day in 5 games.
I like that play call after the big passing play. Tighten them up and see if you can get that interior thinking run again.
UBC going trips each side on 2nd down and 7. 4-man rush as O'Connor gets it away, and Adam Lorentz intercepts it at the 10, the 20, and Michael O'Connor does not take him down. Lorentz still on his feet at midfield. What a return by Adam Lorentz up to the 43-yard line. An electrifying return by Lorentz as he was taken to the field with a hard hit. He's slow to get up, but he's probably more gassed than anything else.
Well, let's take one more look at what O'Connor saw here as he throws it to that one side. He was trying to hit the running back Cummings, who was, as you mentioned, there was trips to each side of the field, so the running back had vacated the backfield, but Calgary sat back. They knew that BC was in a throwing formation, and that athletic secondary comes through, and they make sure their assignments are covered. Lorenz with the interception, and now Calgary has the ball on UBC side of half.
3rd interception of the year for Adam Lorentz, his 2nd off Michael O'Connor. First down, Calgary. The pitch goes to Antwi, right side, finds the sideline after a gain of 5.
Now you want to be careful. You don't want to give a player a shove after he's that far out of bounds, because we've already had some turnovers and some unorthodox things that have happened here. Both teams looking a little bit out of form with the turnovers, and there's the step out and one little more push there from Blackwell. You don't want to give the officials a reason to reach in their pocket.
Big play coming up here for this Calgary drive. They're outside of Nico DeFonte field goal range with the ball at the 39. 3 receivers, short side right. Sinagra looking, loads of time, winds and throws deep, and it is caught. Dallas both with another electrifying catch for the Calgary touchdown.
Well, this crowd is into this now, as that play was against Will Maxwell at that corner for the UBC Thunderbirds. As we take one more look, first of all, the time, but then the throw downfield. And one of the things that Wayne Harris says about Sinagra as compared to Underdahl, he puts more air under his ball. And if he can read that, the receivers can run under it. And that's what happened on that touchdown toss.
Well, Dallas both had to just go up and get it, and that's what he did. 4 receptions for 43 yards and a key touchdown last week versus Saskatchewan, and we can easily suggest that this is a key touchdown here for the Calgary Dinos.
You know, we talked about both teams looking a little bit unorthodox with regards to the turnovers and some of the things, but plays like that will help settle this Calgary team down first. As mentioned, you don't want to let UBC kind of hang around. And after the first touchdown, there were some things that Calgary did that kind of let UBC back in this ball game. But now that you're up by 15, you want to keep the pedal to the metal here if you're the Dinos.
Well, this is kind of a nightmare scenario for the UBC Thunderbirds. The Calgary Dinos, their 2nd strongest quarter is the first. Digging a hole for themselves on the road, not managing the ball well, which is something they needed to do coming into this game. And it's so far that focus that is needed to finish off drives just has not been there. DeFonte to kick off from the 45. Goes right side, finds Travell Pinto at the 6. Pinto across the 20. He's got an outside lane. Flags come down. This one's coming back as Pinto gets it up to the 51-yard line.
You know, this game is just going to be a ton of fun today, and coaches are going crazy about the turnovers, but this is clearly going to be a game where anything can happen.
Let's go downstairs to Andy Neal.
With Dallas both, and how important was that for you after what happened earlier in the quarter to catch that touchdown?
You know, coach just said to keep playing. I let it go right out of my head. Adam made a great throw, O-line blocked up great, and you just had to make a play.
Calgary's taking advantage of 2 UBC turnovers, turning them into touchdowns. How big has that been?
It's huge. Our defense is playing really strong right now, just like we knew we would, and we're just making plays when we get the chance.
Congrats on the touchdown. All the best.
Appreciate it.
Guys.
Good point brought up by Andy about Dallas both recovering and resetting from that fumble down at the 5-yard line when it looked like he was destined for the end zone. On first down, O'Connor finds David Mann, and he had a lot of green but was stopped by the safety, Nathan Mitchell, but that's a good gain on first down.
That's a terrific play call on this play. No coverage at all for the receiver. He's wide open. There wasn't a red jersey near him until the safety come over to make the stop. So good play call from the T-Birds.
Ball at the 48 of the UBC Thunderbirds. On first down, the T-Birds send 3 to the left side, 2 to the right. Hand off to Cummings, has a gap this time and gets across the midfield stripe into Calgary territory with a gain of 7. That's more in keeping with his average per carry of 7.6.
Well, as mentioned, this UBC Thunderbirds offensive line, they've got to really engage and really impose their will, and it's not easy to do against this Calgary interior that we've talked about, but the only way O'Connor and this UBC offense is going to have success is if they win that battle today.
Second down and 3 coming up. O'Connor with the audible at the line. 4 seconds left on the play clock. Calgary brings 7. O'Connor recovers off the bobble, and David Mann pulls it in close coverage. Up at the 49-yard line. That was good coverage by Stats, but Mann had fantastic focus on that reception.
Whoa, did he ever? He had to lock in. Let's take a look at O'Connor on the snap here, though. Is that one actually, it looked like it might have even hit the carpet once, but good poise to get that ball away, and he put it exactly where it needed to be, away from Stats and into the receiver's hands.
That is some good quarterbacking there to have to take your focus from the turf and then look up and quickly make your read to the open man. Ball just outside the 48. First down UBC. 4-man rush for Calgary. O'Connor spun around. He breaks away. Buys some time with his feet. Throws complete to Mann on the run. Gets inside the 35 down to the 33. And that'll be good for the first down for the Thunderbirds. There's some magician work there by Michael O'Connor to escape that rush.
How did he get away from Connor McGough? That is a great question. Number 75 coming from the bottom of the screen, and McGough had him by the belt once, but O'Connor did a good job to get away, and just a beautiful touch on the ball to get that into the receiver's hands for that gain.
Great awareness of where his receivers were in that situation as well. First down UBC at the Calgary 32. Another audible as O'Connor moves to the pistol. 8-man rush. Pass complete to Will Watson. Steps across the 20. He'll have the first down plus a couple after a gain of 13.
What a terrific job of play calling from the UBC Thunderbirds in this first quarter here as it comes to an end. We'll take one more look at this as the quarterback drops back O'Connor just to the outside. No coverage there at all, and a great opportunity outside of the tackles to make a play in the playmaker's hands.
Well, UBC's got something to build on this drive, but will they finish it? And will they start to manage the ball more properly? We'll see coming up in the second quarter of the 80th Hardy Cup on Shaw and Access.
Outward Bound Canada, with the support of the Shaw Kids Investment Program, helps vulnerable youth build resiliency and leadership skills through inspiring and challenging journeys in the great outdoors. Outward Bound Canada is proudly supported through the Shaw Kids Investment Program.
Get him straight, boys! Hey, look at this! We've got one! Yes! We're chosen! Pick us! Yes! Yeah!
We've been chosen together!
Hey, Brenda, you and me.
I'm so happy that God's put our packages together.
It's because we belong together.
It's like we were made for each other.
Get ready, boys!
2016 marks the 10th season of Canada West football on Shaw, as we showcase yet another season of student-athlete excellence on the field and in the classroom. Be sure to catch all the action this fall on the road to the 80th Hardy Cup with the Crown Produce Canada West Football Game of the Week, along with every conference game live and on demand at CanadaWest.tv. Canada West, training leaders, building champions. Back at McMahon Stadium in a rematch of last year's Hardy Cup Championship, the 80th edition, with the Calgary Dinos leading the UBC Thunderbirds 15-0. Stavros Katsatonis for the UBC Thunderbirds in their defensive backfield is known as the Bakersfield Bandit, and with good reason, leading the conference with 5 interceptions this year. He had a fumble recovery in the first quarter as well, and he's had a lot of pros to work with in learning his game. Last year playing alongside Taylor Loeffler with the Thunderbirds, who is now with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, had a terrific rookie campaign in Winnipeg, and in the offseason playing in the private facility and training in the private facility of the Carr brothers. Derek, the starting quarterback with the Oakland Raiders, and David, the former first overall NFL pick in 2002. And Katsatonis says watching Derek play, he's been such a mentor for him and learning so much from the Oakland quarterback. In fact, he's made the Carrs UBC Thunderbirds fans, watching them last season, and very proud to see UBC win the Vanier Cup. And he said the NFL is his goal, and he's learning an awful lot from those two and their NFL experiences, guys.
Well, and you also want to add to that resume for Stavros Katsatonis, the MVP of the International Bowl down in Dallas, Texas, representing Team Canada. He was the one mega standout for Team Canada in that game versus the USA.
Making players all over, not just in Canada West, but everybody take notice.
Ball just short of the 18. First down, UBC to start the second quarter. They are down 15-0. O'Connor swings it out to Cummins, and he will lose yards. As making the stop out there was Treshawn Abrams-Webster.
Yeah, that's an athletic defensive crew for Calgary. They get outside of the tackles so they can really make plays. And as you mentioned, Abrams-Webster comes down to shut that down right away.
2nd and 14. 3 receivers, short side left. Travell Pinto amongst them. Trey Kellogg wide to the right side with Marshall Cook. O'Connor trying to look to the end zone now, will use his feet across the 15, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off and touchdown, Michael O'Connor.
Well, the UBC fans are all engaged now as O'Connor does a great job. And you know what this is, Jim? This is just experience. This is a guy who played in the Vanier Cup last year, knows exactly what he's working with, knows exactly how much time he has. And when he sees the coverage of the Dinos working out so well, he knows that he's got some room to the right. And so he hustles 14 yards, great athleticism, but probably more so just a great heads-up play from O'Connor.
Well, in the 2 previous games between these 2 teams, Michael O'Connor only carried the ball 3 times for a total of 24 yards. So right there, Michael O'Connor may be taking the Dinos by surprise because he hasn't pulled the chute like this too much against the red and gold.
You know what's interesting? He had the interception in the first quarter that he threw, but he was 10 for 13 in the first quarter. So that tells you a little bit about his decision-making ability and how good it is. And it was great there. When he saw his receivers covered, he pulled it down, used his athleticism, and ran in for the score.
Well, if you haven't been following along with Michael O'Connor's career, he has taken the long road to come to the UBC Thunderbirds now in his 2nd year. He played high school football in Tennessee in grade 11, went to IMG Academy in grade 12 in Bradenton, Florida. went to Penn State. And then after losing a battle with Christian Hackenberg for the starting position at Penn State, made a decision to come back north. And one of the reasons he came back north is because he has an interest in real estate. Vancouver's about as good as you can get when it comes to that in terms of learning the ropes there, as Jack McDonald, the native of Delta, BC, gets it up to the 39 on the return. Let's go downstairs to Andy Neal.
And with Michael O'Connor, talk about the touchdown run. Michael, did he get you on the board?
Well, when they play two-man, that's one of the weaknesses in two-man is the quarterback running, so I gotta be able to use my legs a little bit.
How much are you drawing from experience of last year's run to try and help you come from behind after the deficit early?
That's big. I mean, we got confidence in our guys. We just got to protect the football. We'll be all good.
All the best the rest of the way. Congrats.
Thank you.
Guys?
Robert Stewart, left side for a couple. We talked about the long road for Michael O'Connor. You can hear the accent. It's a little Ottawa Valley.
Yeah.
It's a little Tennessee, a little over to Florida, a little Happy Valley.
Yeah.
And then back to the West Coast.
Yeah, his play calling, though, and his ability is universal. It's impressive on both sides of the border. There's no question about that.
Michael Klukas, wide left. Hunter Carl, essentially the replacement for Hartley, wide right on this 2nd and 7 play, and the pass is complete up to the 54 for Michael Klukas.
Sinagra
That'll move the chain.
Sorry about that, Jim. Dylan Chapdelaine, number 8, came in and really put a hit on Adam Sinagra here as we take a look at him dropping back from the end zone here. Take a look. There's the shot that he takes just before getting that ball away. So in the wake of pressure, he really had to stand in there and deliver that ball.
Adam Sinagra now 7 for 7 on the afternoon for 126 yards. And here is Stewart again, scrambling right side across the 50 down to the UBC 49. Gain of 5.
That was a shifty little move by Stewart as he hit the line of scrimmage. Did a good job in getting to his right and picking up 4 yards when it looked like if he was going to go straight, there wasn't much there. So good job.
Well, actually, mark it as a gain of 4. 2nd and 6 coming up for the Dinos. Former VI Raider Tamuziak, wide left. Dallas both with a touchdown today with him on that side. That's the side Sinagra's looking and then dumps it off underneath to Ledwas, who falls as he hauls it in. Since he couldn't turn it upfield, he couldn't turn it into a first down, and the Dinos are facing 3rd and 2.5.
Yeah, that's a bit of a tough break for the Calgary receiver because the ball was down at his shoe tops. He managed to pull it up and get it up in the air, and even Sinagra is shaking his head thinking to himself, I just needed that ball to be about 6 inches higher so my receiver could have maintained his momentum and turned upfield. So a bit of a tough break here for Calgary. One more look at it. Sorry about that, Jim. I was just going to give us one more look here at this throw upfield and the catch made by Klukas there.
Here's the pump by Sinagra, nicely placed. Travell Pinto hasn't got much room to work with as he gets it up to the 17.
Good kick and good downfield coverage there.
Let's look back at UBC's semifinal effort against the Regina Rams, Ray.
A 40-34 win. Everybody's talking about the A.J. Blackwell block punt, and that's exactly what happened as Colton Sachley managed to take that into the end zone for the touchdown. Marshall Cook, a 15-yard catch from Michael O'Connor here, who was 20-3 in the second quarter. Ben Cummings, he played a big role in this one, a 1-yard run, and then David Mann with an 11-yard pass from Michael O'Connor. Again, the final 40-34. That's how the T-Birds got here.
First down, UBC. Here's David Mann. Looks the ball into his hands after getting hit by Hunter Turnbull. Will stand as a gain of about 8.5.
Yeah, you want to be careful to those throws for the far side of the field because those balls do hang up there a little bit. And the way this Calgary defensive unit can close, you want to make sure that the ball gets there in time and you give your receiver a chance.
On 2nd and 2, Cummins should have the first down as he hits the 30. He needed to get over the 28. The UBC running game nationally after week 4 was ranked 3rd from the last in all of the CIS. Now Ben Cummings is a Can West All-Star. Western taking control of that Yates Cup after the lead changed hands 3 times in the early going. First down Thunderbirds, ball just across their own 30. Once again, an audible for O'Connor. He recognizes something. Cripps left side, he's looking left. Now throws deep, looking for Kellogg, and it's well over his head, down at the 40.
Adam Lorenz in on the coverage on that throw downfield as they try to stretch this Calgary secondary a little bit with a long throw, but well over the head of the receiver.
Trey Kellogg, the son of Jackie Kellogg, who's in this Calgary neighborhood. A native of DeWinton, Alberta. 2nd and 10. Big rush by Calgary, and Woodson frees the ball up. Who's got the football? Jakubek's got it, and Jakubek is in the end zone for the Calgary touchdown. No one touched Anthony Woodson, and he unloaded on Michael O'Connor, and turnovers are killing the UBC Thunderbirds.
Woodson might be a little worse for wear, but you can see Jakubek celebrating the recovery and the touchdown as we take a look at this. The blind side of O'Connor. He's looking to the right. Woodson comes in from that secondary spot untouched, and there you can see Jakubek scoop it up and take it into the end zone for the touchdown.
At a moment like this, Jacob Jakubek, who had committed to the York Lions 2 years ago, has to be happy he's not a York Lion, that he's a Calgary Dino.
And you think about it, he is taking part in the Canada West Championship here. That means so much to this Calgary team after what took place last year. One more look at it, O'Connor. Look at his head. He's turning right to the right, and there you can see the pressure come as Woodson moves in untouched. The throw to the right side. O'Connor with still no idea that that big hit is coming. O'Connor loses the grip on the football, and Jakubek is there to scoop it up and take it into the end zone for the touchdown. And now the Dinos have a commanding lead, and now the T-Birds really need to be methodical and respond and not let the home side run away with this.
One of the battles that we haven't talked about so far in this game is defensive coordinator versus offensive coordinator. You have Tom Higgins, the defensive coordinator of the Calgary Dinos, and I think he just laid a bit of a whooping on Steve Barato, the former Grey Cup champion himself.
Well, absolutely. Those are two terrific Canadian Football League coaches that are giving their knowledge to these university players, and that is an interesting battle when you take a look at, you think about all the athletes that Barato has to work with on offense on the UBC side, and Higgins' group, we've talked about them time and time again on defense. That's a great position for those coordinators to be in.
The special teams response might help the Thunderbirds out right now. Nice kickoff by DeFonte, forcing Pinto 5 yards deep into the end zone. And Pinto gets up to the 24-yard line. Travell Pinto playing as a receiver today, but selected as a Canada West All-Star at corner for his 2 interceptions and his shutdown play.
Good job by Marshall Cook on the stop on Pinto here as we see him, as you mentioned, work with the offensive unit here today. That's one of the things about Pinto. When you talk to coaches around the Canada West, they always say, oh yeah, Blake will put him on either side of the football. He's just that good of an athlete.
Kellogg wide right, Pinto wide left on 1st and 10 from the 24.5. O'Connor finds David Mann, turns upfield, gets the first down as Stats knocks him out of bounds after a gain of a dozen.
UBC has had a little bit of success today, Jim, outside of the tackles and working this Calgary offense, whether it be through the run or the passes. O'Connor looks back, quick delivery right there, and you can see the toss to the outside and the catch made by the receiver for the first down.
UBC with a new set of downs at their own 36. 3 receivers, short side right, and they also go trips to the wide side. Calgary brings the rush. O'Connor hit as he gets it away, but Cummins is open, and he hauls it in inside the 35-yard line. Michael O'Connor on his back foot knew the pressure was coming. He paid the price as he got that football away, and Ben Cummins puts UBC into Calgary territory.
What a great look at that from the end zone. What a touch from O'Connor in the wake of the heat. Calgary brings about 7 or 8. As a matter of fact, O'Connor does take a little bit of a shot as he delivered that football. Good timing by Calgary's defense, no penalty, but O'Connor's athleticism and just knowledge of where his receiver was, fantastic on that play.
Jack McEwen and Corey Robinson meeting at the junction there. As the pitch goes to Cummings, and he seeks out some yards. Usually he goes up the gut. This time he found an outside gap and got it just short of the 26.
Well, what a good job by UBC. We've been talking about the play calling on Blake Nill, Steve Barato's side of the field here. They've done a good job in calling plays, even though they've trailed for every part of this football game, really. They've done a good job at finding the spots in Calgary's defense where they are vulnerable, and it also takes UBC the persistence to stick with it, and they've done that here in this drive so far.
Double slot set for the Thunderbirds on 2nd down and 3. O'Connor going to the air. Everyone's covered. Now a man comes open as he goes into the end zone, and it's ruled incomplete. David Mann came free, and there was close coverage provided by Stats. However, there is a flag over on the far side of the field over at the 14, which may indicate illegal contact.
UBC's offensive line did a phenomenal job in giving O'Connor all sorts of time to survey the field, and he was able to do that.
Defense, number 22. 10-yard penalty, first down.
For Sean Abrams-Webster with the illegal contact, and that keeps the UBC drive alive.
Take a look at the steamboats that the quarterback O'Connor has here with this offense. Jim, watch this. He drops back. It's just all sorts of time to look around the field, looks left, looks right, and then manages to get a pretty good ball down to the end zone that Stats was on the coverage of.
First down, Thunderbirds. Ball at the 17. 4 receivers right side. Slick handoff to Cummins, but that did not fool Corey Robinson, who was in his gap and tripped up Cummins after a gain of maybe a yard.
Cummins can be elusive, though. He just about bounced away from that play from Robinson, but Robinson was able to bring him down for the short gain.
After that 1-yard gain by Ben Cummings, the Abbotsford native, the graduate of Robert Bateman, at 2nd and 9, UBC. Cummings in motion to the right side, so there's 4 to the right and 2 to the left. Passing down for the blue and gold. O'Connor flushed out of the pocket. Throws towards the end zone. Pinto's there, but he couldn't have caught that one inbounds, and that'll bring up 3rd down.
The Calgary secondary locked down. They didn't allow a UBC receiver to have any opportunity at open field right here, and that made O'Connor decide to throw the ball out. As you take a look at O'Connor dropping back here, look at all the time. He waited for as long as he could, but then eventually he had to make a decision to what side of the field he was going to go to, went to the left and just threw it out of bounds.
This will be a 23-yard attempt for Greg Hutchins. He's 13 of 21 this year, 3 of 4 last week, but only 2 of 5 versus Calgary. Nice placements down, the kick is up, and there is no mistake for the native of Bedford, Nova Scotia, and the transfer out of New Mexico State. So 3 goes on the board, and probably a much-needed 3 for the Thunderbirds as they are now down by 12. Calgary elect to take the ball at their own 35, and we'll keep tracking Adam Sinagra and his progress. 8 of 8 for 137 yards and a touchdown.
Let's take a look back at the last 2 Hardy Cup games going back to 2014. It was a 27-15 Bison's win over the Calgary Dinos. Jonathan Jones with a 20-yard interception return. That tied the game up at 7. Keenan LaFrance, a lot of people remember that name, a 40-yard run here. That made it 14-7. And there they are, the Bison celebrating that 27-15 win. And then, of course, last year, as you remember, UBC in Calgary, the Dinos roll in undefeated, but Michael O'Connor worked his magic in this one. Had some help from the ground game as well, and there's UBC celebrating. So Calgary really hungry to finish the job in this 80th Hardy Cup.
Well, that was an undefeated team and another first-place team with Calgary in those back-to-back years in 2014 and 2015. Major upsets in both those games. I remember the game in 2014, 10 turnovers in Blake Nill's final stand when it came to being the head coach of the Calgary Dinos. Really an implosion in that game that it was hard to wrap one's head around, but Manitoba were full value for the victory. It came 13 yards away from going to the Vanier Cup in their game versus Montreal in Montreal. Calgary first down at the 35. They'll go to the air, and the pass is incomplete. Maybe a little bit of a miscommunication there between Denzel Radford and Sinagra, and that is his first incompletion of the afternoon.
Well, just to back up your point about the Calgary Dinos in the Hardy Cup, let's take a look back at the last few years. You can see how Calgary lost each and every one of those going back to 2008 to 2016 on your screen. So the Dinos really would like to get the job done here and move on and make another push for a Vanier Cup here.
2nd and 10. 4 to the wide side, 1 to the right, and Sinagra goes to the right to Muziak. Controls it, gets the handle on it after a gain of a dozen, and that will move the chains.
Whitman to Muziak, Dallas both. Hunter Carl, some of the players that will be leaned upon today with no Austin Hartley in this offensive unit here for the Dinos.
First down Dinos at their own 47. Antwi bounces outside, forced back inside after a gain of 3. Good flow to the ball by the UBC defensive front.
You know, you're seeing the difference between Bryce Harper, who's not in the lineup, and the running back today, Jeshroon Antwi. Take a look at just that shiftiness. As soon as he steps to the line, he's outside, and all of a sudden you think he's going between the center and the guard, and he's out towards the tackle. So a good job by UBC's defense there. They really need a stop.
Dylan Chapdelaine really gave him no recourse, cutting off the gap and forcing him back inside. 2nd down and 8. Sinagra winds up. He's got Klukas, and Klukas has got it. Down inside the UBC 20, down to the 18-yard line. What a cannon Adam Sinagra has. Love this kid's mechanics, and you got to love his delivery even more.
Well, you got to love the fact that Calgary was able to respond with a deep play downfield after the run was basically shut down. A good job here by Sinagra to look to the far side of the field and just put that ball exactly where it needed to be in his receiver's hands for a deep strike. And UBC's interior tested the play before, and then they take a shot downfield and have some luck with it as they get inside the UBC 20-yard line.
Yeah, now we have a issue. Is there some sort of substance on the turf between the 30 and the 35? Those things were getting obviously a little too festive over there, right?
Celebration ribbon came out too early, maybe, for one team or another, but Wayne Harris was quick to run out on the field and say, get that off.
There you go, Johnny Carr, the equipment manager.
There you go.
Taking care of things for the Dinos. First down from the 18.
Look at those numbers offensively in the first half for both these teams here.
4-man rush for UBC. Sinagra goes to the end zone. Good defense provided there, but there is a flag that comes out. It looked like the hit was well timed. But there is a flag. I believe it was Jordan Kennedy who was in coverage.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. We'll wait and see what the call is here from this officiating crew.
Just cut through.
Pass interference. British Columbia, number 35. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Check that. It's E.J. Blackwell with the penalty. Like to take a look at the timing of that again. The officials are a lot closer to it than us.
So Calgary gets the ball at the 3-yard line, and we talked about how good their offensive line has been, but there's a look at the coverage right there, and you can see just before that ball got there, AJ's right hand kind of came down on the receiver's right arm, so he couldn't get it up. So that's probably a pretty good call at first glance for the officiating crew here today.
Timeout, British Columbia.
Let's take a look out of town and look at the Dunsmore Cup, which is being played in Montreal. The Laval Rouge et Or lead the Montreal Carabin 11-6 in the third. You have to wonder if the talk about Danny Machocha leaving for the Montreal Alouettes is disrupting things there. Western in control over the Laurier Golden Hawks, 40-25. That's a predictable result coming out of Ontario. And another one, X, which is St. Francis on this graphic, leading Mount Allison 23-8 in the third. Maybe showing a bit of mercy considering that Mount Allison has had their first and second string quarterbacks injured in this game, and they're down to a makeshift third. And they don't dress three quarterbacks.
Yeah, well, there's that. And then, you know, you were talking a little bit about Danny Machocha. And, man, since the Mark Trestman rumor in Montreal is off the table now, the Machocha rumor to Montreal, to the Alouettes, that one is really on.
And quite frankly, it might be a good fit for Machocha. He's achieved a lot in Montreal. First and goal to go from the 3. Sinagra throws, touchdown, Calgary Dinos. We have been waiting for this all year long. Whitman Tamuziak in the end zone. No touchdown receptions in the regular season, but now the former BCFC standout has 6.
And you can hear his teammates telling him, good job, man, good job. That is his first touchdown, as you mentioned. Didn't pick up any in the first 8 games of the regular season. Calgary makes this look pretty easy, though. You take a look at the offensive line, quick release, just a step outside by Tamuziak for 7.
Well, a point after. Now
there you
it's
go,
7.
for 6. Now it's 7, yes.
As the Calgary Dinos are on the edge here of blowing this thing wide open. The next drive coming up after this Tamuziak touchdown reception is very important for the Thunderbirds to try to manufacture some points, 3, 6, or 7.
Well, you really have to be happy for a guy like Adam Sinagra, who's probably in a situation he didn't think he was going to be in, as we take a look at Tamuziak, and we'll take one more look at this throw to the end zone here. Adam Sinagra, when Jimmy Underdahl went down, there were some around this Calgary fan base that probably thought that might be the worst or the end for the Calgary Dinos. But Adam Sinagra has proven that he has command of his team. His teammates have total confidence in him, and it's starting to show in the first half of the Hardy Cup here.
Well, there were a couple of teams in Quebec who thought that the Point Claire native was going to stay in the RSEQ after graduating from John Abbott and Cégep. And the Calgary Dinos, to their credit, went in, were aggressive with their recruiting, and tread on a few toes in La Belle Provence. Getting Sinagra out here as the quarterback of the future, and the quarterback of the future is doing things right now with a 29-10 lead. Here is Travell Pinto with a spin move up to the 21-yard line. Boston Rowe with the punctuation on that return. Let's go downstairs to Andy Neal.
Whitman Tamuziak joins me. First touchdown catch of the year. How big is this, and what happened on the play?
Well, it's about time I get one. Good timing, though. No, it was just we knew we had him manned up out there. We worked on that in practice. It's just like a little double move on the goal line. We knew it'd work. We knew we'd roast him with it. So, yeah.
You know, Austin Hartley's out of this game. How important is it for the receivers, and you have so far, to be able to step up the way you have?
Man, like, Hartley's had such a sick year, but like, we got so many guys too. Like, just look at what Dallas has done this year in his place. Like, we're gonna get Hartley back soon, but like, we can certainly go with who we got.
Well, congrats on the touchdown.
Thank you.
Whitman Tamuziak, gentlemen.
Tamuziak, the Nanaimo native who spent the entire year last year on the BC Lions practice roster. He's the oldest player in all of the CIS. We're still calling it CIS.
Yes, I know.
Officially, it's called U Sport next year.
Don't get Jim Mullen started on the U Sport thing quite yet.
It's not ready yet.
He's going to need the offseason to get his head around.
Hatched a little too soon. First down, UBC after that Trey Kellogg catch. There's David Mann on the receiving end from O'Connor. He gets it into Calgary territory, but puts it on the carpet. Who's got the football? Was he down? Refs don't think so. It is Calgary football. I'm going to sound like I'm repeating myself, but turnovers are killing the UBC Thunderbirds.
Well, you have to give the Dinos credit for the way they were able to force this turnover. That's a terrific play call. The receiver's wide open. But take a look at some of this back pressure. Again, it's Nick Stats who's having a terrific ball game defensively. He comes and punches that out, and the Dinos recover around midfield. So this defensive unit of Tom Higgins has just done a great job today. Receiver makes the catch, but take a look back at the punch right there from Stats, and that punch works out as he manages to put that ball down on the carpet.
Nick Stats with a forced fumble. In the regular season, a recovery for a touchdown in the regular season, and this could be a major turning point here if the Calgary Dinos can find the end zone on this drive with 3:52 remaining in this second quarter. That punch of the football could really turn this into blowout territory for Calgary. Calgary going 3-by-1 on first down. Antwi with the ball. And he bounces off a couple of Thunderbirds down to the 51. There are flags down at the snap of the ball, however.
You know, you also have to wonder how UBC's defense is going to hold up. They give up the touchdown toss and the touchdown drive, and just like that, they've got to come right back out on the field and see if they can make a stand with Calgary hovering around midfield.
The play. Second down.
So the gain of 7 by Antwi will stand, coming up second down and a long 3. Let's see if Calgary are content to keep the ball on the ground here. It is a distance where Antwi's been consistent and getting close to first down yardage. Nope, they will go to the air, and it's complete to Dallas Both. Down to the 40-yard line. Now, Sinagra 12 of 13 on the afternoon.
Well, tremendous play calling here from Calgary as well. I really like the play calling of both teams at points and times here today. And at times, the Thunderbird defense has been a little bit soft. So, you know, you wonder about a running back that's probably averaging 4 or 5 yards in those situations, as you pointed out. What does Calgary do? They find the receiver that sits down in the soft zone, and they make a completion.
Sinagra now over 200 yards. A bit of a fumble on the handoff, and Antwi is tracked down. Katatonis, the man to finally finish him off. That'll be no gain. Well, both quarterbacks over 200 race. Sinagra now at 208.
Wow.
O'Connor at 238.
Look at the time of possession here. UBC with the edge there, but we've talked about the turnovers and how opportunistic Calgary has been. They trail in that department, but lead by a sizable margin on the scoreboard here.
2:47 remaining. Maybe an issue with the clock. A decent crowd that has showed up here for today's game. All things considered, it gets lost in 18,000 seats over on the opposite side, but it looks like they could be close to about 3,000 today. Second down and 10. Sinagra, loads of time. Drops it off to his running back, Antwi. Look at all that green in front of him. Puts on the brakes at the 15. And can't get any additional yards, but wow, that's a whole lot of damage by the running back who was just sitting there as a safety valve.
Well, you wonder if it's a whole lot of damage by the Dinos or if UBC is kind of shooting themselves in the foot defensively here a little bit. First of all, let's take a look at the steamboats here that the quarterback Sinagra is working with. There is nobody near him, and by the time he unloads, that's a good 4 seconds in the pocket, and then the wide open field in front of the running back right there. Look at all that green in front of the Antwi here as he turns upfield for a sizable gain. And that's something that the UBC Thunderbirds just couldn't afford to have happen. With less than 3 minutes to go, you're down by 19. We've seen some amazing comebacks, but you're also playing against a Calgary Dinos team that has worked hard to get home field advantage. They've battled so much this year. You just can't afford to have that happen if you're the Thunderbirds.
Well, Laurier is the team that just won't go away. They're down by 7 against Western in a game that was very competitive in the first half. Dylan Chapdelaine, the injured UBC Thunderbird, who was basically pancaked by Jordan Filippelli on that last play. First down, Calgary. Ball just outside the UBC 14. Sinagro with a little shoulder fake. Loads of time again. Sails it over the middle. Thera Plamondon goes up and gets it. Another Calgary touchdown.
You know, I wondered if that UBC defensive unit might be a little bit tired after the turnover around midfield. I have no other explanation for how Calgary is able to dominate this UBC defense as much as they've been able to, but this is just a one-sided game so far. The field tilted in Calgary's direction. Take a look at all of the time here again for the quarterback, Sinagro, all sorts of time, and actually had an option to dump that ball off towards the sidelines, but with all that time, he was able to find a streaking receiver downfield for the touchdown.
Well, we mentioned it off the last drive. It was important for the Thunderbirds to find a way to the end zone. It's kind of critically important here if they want to even see the taillights in the distance right now.
Jim, just one more illustration of the time here. 2, 3. I mean, that's 4 or 5 seconds in the pocket, and that just cannot happen if UBC is going to be able to battle in this football game.
The Thunderbirds against Noah Picton and the Regina Rams did a lot of dropping 9 players back into coverage, but the Thunderbirds seem to have problems dealing with this Calgary offensive line. Yes, they've had all sorts of problems with injuries. Ryan Seavier's out playing tackle on one side instead of his normal guard position. But, you know, when you look at Filippelli, Cron, Siracco, Pruder, and Seavier, regardless of the positions that they're in and regardless of the injuries that they sustained through the season, that's a really good offensive line.
Well, at breakfast this morning, which you should have bought, by the way, if I was to tell you that Bryce Harper and Austin Hartley are going to be out of the football game, Jim, and the Dinos are going to have a 26-point lead in the first half, you would have told me I was crazy.
Well, I tell you, you're crazy, just not based on football.
I walked into that, didn't I?
This is a bit of a moon shot. That will be fielded by Haney, and he'll get it up to the 38-yard line. But 2:12 remaining in this first half. Time to get the show on the road if you're dressed in blue and gold.
Absolutely. This Calgary team, led by the Vanier Cup champion quarterback, Michael O'Connor, they really have to respond here and then get into the room and regroup. But a touchdown is just about imperative here if they're going to have any chance in this football game.
Whistles at the snap. Tell you that Michael O'Connor, we mentioned his 238 yards, 15 of 20. He's having a good day in terms of percentage. He did serve up the interception to Adam Lorentz that was returned back into UBC territory, and unfortunately within their blocking scheme, they left Robert Woodson uncovered for a Jacob Jakubik scoop and score to the end zone.
Yeah, just some miscues have been costly. And early in the game, both teams were making those turnovers, and you didn't know which way this thing was going to go. But with Sinagra's poise in the pocket and the time he's had, that's been the difference in this football game so far. All the credit in the world to that Calgary offensive line.
There you go. Montreal scrambled back into things. They have a 2-point lead on their home field. One of the big strikes right now against the UBC offense, and they're probably going to abandon the running game at this point with the score where it's at. Ben Cummings, 9 carries, 25 yards, a 2.8-yard average. This is a guy that averages 5 more yards per carry, and the Calgary front 7 has done a great job of shutting down the running game. I'm sure that when you miss your only all-star in the offensive line, Levi Hua, the center, that has had an impact. on first down. O'Connor winds and throws. He's got a man, and Travell Pinto just couldn't squeeze it down at the 20-yard line. He had a step on his man.
I'm a little bit surprised he didn't maybe dive for that football just to, you know, what's at stake here. And we know Pinto is a tremendous athlete, but there's a look at the throw by O'Connor, and you're right, he had a step on that. It just went right through the midst.
That would have been a nice way for the Thunderbirds to find a way to stay close until they can regroup at halftime. The Sun has finally made a full appearance here in Calgary, 2nd and 10. O'Connor throws, and Will Watson can't squeeze it. It was a little high for him, but that'll bring up 3rd down, and it's a 2 and out.
Some blanket coverage here from the Calgary Dinos. They only brought 3 on the rush that time and let all of their linebackers and members of the secondary kind of hang and make sure that their assignments were covered. So even if that ball was completed, Calgary was fully prepared for that. But because of the drop, UBC is going to have to give up the football.
Hutchins in, 2 men back for the Calgary Dinos. Lorentz will take it on this, rather check that, both will take it on this side of the number and take it into the pack for a return of 10 up to the 44.
Well, speaking of Dallas both, let's take a look back at that catch he made last week, because this is worth looking at against the University of Saskatchewan Huskies. It was the semifinal 1 week ago, and take a look at that one-handed grab. This has been on highlight reels all over the place, but my personal favorite, Colin McQuillan's footage from the end zone corner camera. Look at that. Look at that work by cameraman and receiver there, as both makes a terrific catch, and that's some of the depth that Calgary's been leaning on without Austin Hartley.
Both with 3 receptions for 86 yards and a touchdown this afternoon. And this time it's Ledwas who has his number called. And he will get a gain of just short of 5.
Yeah, this is unfortunate for UBC, because if you take a look at the clock, there's 1:42 left to go, and a Calgary offense that has a ton of momentum on its side with the way things have gone here. And this isn't the boat that the T-Birds wanted to be in at this point in time in the half, when you consider how much Calgary has dominated this game so far.
Well, the Thunderbirds came in as defending Vanier Cup champions. They also came in as a 3-5 team in the regular season, and they look far more like the latter. Here on 2nd and 6, Adam Sinagra is tracked down by Jones for the sack. Riley Jones, he has 7.5 tackles for loss this year. That's his first sack. The native of Delta, one of the few fifth-year players on this UBC team, and the T-Birds wisely exercise their timeout.
One of the few times that Sinagra has had to bail out of the pocket earlier than he's needed to. That offensive line has done a good job all day, as we pointed out, but that was one of the times when Sinagra had to leave the pocket because things were collapsing. UBC's pressure was pretty good, and as a result, the quarterback had to bail, and as you mentioned, a good defensive play to make sure that Sinagra wasn't able to do any damage once he was flushed out.
Well, it's looking more and more like the winner of this game will face St. Francis Xavier in the Mitchell Bowl. St. FX leading 26-8 over Mount Allison. Devon Cook, a quarterback who's had a fine year, the player of the year, coming out of the AUS, leads that team. Well, look at Laurier. They have scrambled back. Full points to Mike Falls, their young head coach, the 2nd youngest head coach in the CIS, in terms of finding some offense where there was none earlier. Travell Pinto will try to lure the pack in. He does, and then turns it up outside and gets the ball into Calgary territory to the Calgary 54.
I like Malcolm Lee, number 9's reaction to that football as it got to him. He was a few yards away from Travell Pinto and very close to the football, and he said, I'm staying away from that football. I'm going to let one of the sure-handed players on our team have it, and that's Pinto. And as a result, the no yards call is made because Pinto scrambles up, and UBC has the ball on Calgary's side of half here with just over a minute to go.
So can the UBC Thunderbirds find a spark? That is the question. Down by 26. On first down, Michael O'Connor feels the pressure, gets out of the pocket, tucks it in, gets across the 40, and will get the first down after a run of 12 yards.
I have no idea how Michael O'Connor got away from Connor McGough on this play, but he did manage to do that as he dropped back, had a look, things collapsing all around him, and he was able to kind of turn around and get away and get upfield and managed to get a first down inside the 40-yard line.
That is frightening pocket sense and pocket presence by Michael O'Connor, literally with eyes on the back of his head with that spin move in the pocket. On first down, O'Connor over the middle, finds Cummins, and he is tagged immediately by Jakubek. It will stand as a gain of 5 with 49 seconds remaining in the half.
You talked about Jakubek's scoop and score. Boy, did he ever make some contact on the ball carrier here after this throw from O'Connor. Watch this right there. As he was turning upfield, Jakubek was there with a heavy hit.
2nd and 5, Thunderbirds. O'Connor loads of time, and flags come down as Will Watson took a wild stab for it and fell.
Yeah, good pass protection by the Thunderbirds that time as O'Connor was able to survey the field but just couldn't make contact with his receiver to the sidelines.
Illegal contact. Calgary, number 3. 10-yard penalty, first down.
So as Will Watson was breaking out of his pattern, they nailed Adam Lorentz with the illegal contact. They'll keep the Thunderbirds drive going with the ball at the 22. First down, T-Birds. Time a consideration in this half. Calgary brings a bunch. Pass complete. Will be short of the first down as Trevor Casey, the former backup quarterback out of Terry Fox, gets a gain of 8.
I was wondering how tough this catch was to make because that ball went from shade to sun and the receiver was looking back into it, but a good job to corral it.
2nd and 2. O'Connor fires over the middle, finds Cummings, and they are ruling it incomplete.
Not the first time that Cummings has run a route. As a matter of fact, the last time he ran deep down the field, it was an interception for the Calgary Dinos. But here's O'Connor throwing this ball, and good position right there, and he just wasn't able to hang on to it. That may have been Jakubek again in on the coverage that time.
Indeed, it was Jacob Jakubek, who's having one heck of a football game from that interior linebacker position. 3rd down and 2 yards to go. UBC's not going for 3 here. They're leaving the offense on the field. Here comes the rush. O'Connor sails it towards the end zone, and it's over the head of Cummings in the end zone. No flags down. It'll be a turnover on downs.
Well, the Calgary Dinos on defense, Jim, they've got the good fortune of having such a great athletic group in their secondary and in the linebacking core that they're able to pin their ears back no matter down and distance. And, of course, it was a situation where Calgary had to throw. So let's take a look at O'Connor and just the heat he was facing right here as Calgary brings 7 and knocked O'Connor on his wallet before he could get a good velocity on that throw. And as a result, UBC will not have any points on this drive.
By our count in this first half, that is the 5th turnover by the UBC Thunderbirds. Ray, I'm not going to say it again.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a tough situation when it was both teams were turning over the football early. Both looked a little out of sorts, but this has just not gone UBC's way, while Calgary's found some momentum from some early hiccups in this one.
Calgary up by 26 points at the half. I think very few people saw this sort of gap at halftime coming. Maybe a game getting away from the UBC Thunderbirds in the second half if things didn't go their way, but the Thunderbirds have been their own worst enemy in terms of ball management. They have put up some good offensive numbers. They haven't finished in the red zone, and a couple of critical breakdowns on offense have led to situations like Jacob Jakubik's scoop and score into the end zone.
And that play is where I wondered if we'd start to see some shoulders slump on the UBC sideline, because those plays can just be so demoralizing for a team. So we'll see what Blake Neal can tell his team and how inspired they can come out in the second half.
Let's go downstairs to Andy. He's got Wayne Harris.
All right, thanks very much, Jim. Wayne, last year turnovers were such a big part of the Hardy Cup Championship. They are getting today, but in Calgary's favor. What about the play of your defense to be able to get the ball back the way they have?
Well, certainly, you know, when you turn the ball over, if you're able to capitalize on those situations, which we've been able to do so far, it makes a big difference. And, you know, we still got to keep playing hard here, though.
Two key omissions from the offensive side of the ball with Hartley and Harper both out, but Adam Sinagra has been great. What about the play of him and the offense today?
Well, right now, you know, we've had a bunch of receivers step up and play great. They've had to do that all season long, and Adam's been getting better and better each and every game, so he's had a good first half.
What'll be the key in the second half to keep the pedal to the metal?
Well, we got to keep our intensity high and our focus keen and do all the right things. We got to eliminate the penalties. We had a couple of lack of concentration things. We had to call some timeouts that we didn't want to call, and just keep focused. It's a full 60 minutes to play.
All the best in the second half, Wayne.
Thank you.
There's Wayne Harris, head coach of the Calgary Dinos. Coming up at the half, we'll get a look at the Canada West Award winners and X's and Olsons on special teams. Big lead for the Dinos in the 80th Hardy Cup here on Shaw.
Crown Produce